What's up, mortals? It's Dante from the anime Underworld, and today we are back with Four Knights of the Apocalypse in Chapter 197, Grandpa's Wishes. There are some good moments in this chapter, so hey, let's get into it. We begin this chapter with Percival looking incredibly shocked. Varghese just smiles at his grandpa while 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐻 and Anne are very curious as to who this guy is, with Anne remarking, "Grandpa, does he mean his own?" 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐻 agrees, saying, "But he said he lost him." Percival is furious. He yells at his friends as saying his grandpa is dead. So who did this? With everyone looking very confused and shocked that Percival of all people would yell at them. Who among you ever wished to bring Grandpa back to Camelot? It's awful. I mean, given what happened with Jade, yeah. But Donnie fesses up saying, "Percival, chill out. Nobody here ever knew your grandpa." I mean, he's got a point. That would mean the only one who wished for it was you all along. Gareth explains, "Nah, I just took my spirit calling seals and made him visible with them. After this guy asked me to, you see. So yes." He starts putting it together that this is not a fake. It's really Varghese' spirit. And this really gets to Percival, with him beginning to tear up. He runs to his dear grandpa, but then just stops before the embrace, with Varghese asking what's wrong. Percival grips his new sword and begins to explain, saying, "I know you're not really my grandpa, because I'm not really your grandson, right?" Everyone is saddened, with Percival continuing to say, "I really shouldn't have been born, huh? Man, that's dark." And his grandfather surprisingly agrees, saying, "That's true. You're not a human being, and you certainly aren't connected to me by blood." Great. Just what he wanted to hear. But Varghese says with a smile on his face, "But you're still my cute little grandson, you know. And not anything else either. After all, thanks to you, my life was fuller and more satisfying than it ever would have otherwise." Now, you see this? This is what you should have said. This is what he really wanted to hear, and Percival just needed this so badly. Percival just goes into chibi mode and starts crying like a little baby, saying, "Really? Come on, what did I lie about that? Really, really, really?" I'm sorry, this is just so cute. Varghese just says that no matter how old, no matter how tall, no matter how many cubes, you grow, of course. Percival's own Platoon is starting to see the resemblance between the family. Even Gawain says that they're just two peas in a pod, huh? This familiar moment even makes Tristan says that makes him want to see his own grandfather again. Which one are you talking about there, buddy? This one or this one? After being let off the hook, Donnie thanks Gareth a ton, with Gareth remarking that doing this tires me out so much, you know? Varghese strokes Percival's hair, saying, "No, I couldn't love you more, my boy. You're the apple of my eye." And we transition to his actual grandson saying, "Just like 𝐷eodora." Yeah, this statement really made everyone on high alert and very surprised. Percival's grandfather begs him, saying, "I have a favor to ask of you. Can you help that young man for me?" With Percival being very reluctant, like, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. He explains that as he is, 𝐷eodora is going to plunge into a deep, dark pit of despair. One that he'll never come back from. Yeah, no offense, Varghese, but you don't really have a good leg to stand on when it comes to 𝐷eodora and you actually being a grandfather. Reminder, you left him for Percival. You left for this random baby that should have been dead, that was supposed to be your grandson's vessel, and you left. And you've been gone for 16 years. You left out on your actual grandson for a new one. What does that say about you? And now you care?
I've only had Arlo for a day and a half, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Even Percival is still upset, saying no, he can't. Even if he's asking, that's the one thing he can't do for him. And Varghese understands where he's coming from, saying, "I hear ya. I know too well how you feel. He continues to explain that, saying, but 𝐷eodora's loneliness makes him forget himself. He lost his uncle, his father, his friends. His heart is so weak right now. And he recites the creed that Percival knows all too well. We must crush the evil to rescue the weak, and be someone who risks their life for what is most important to them. Percival knows his creed very well, with Varghese saying that I will say nothing else. The rest is up to you. But he does have one thing to say. As angry as he are, and the 𝐼𝐸𝐴ns aren't that worked up about it, but Percival decides to gaslight him, saying, what? No, quit being stupid. Don't you know what they've been through? I mean, he's got a point, but Anne agrees with Percival's grandfather? 𝐼𝐸𝐴n says that they're fine. They're perfectly fine, Percival. It's just that with Anne rudely interrupting her, we're afraid you are losing yourself over us, alright? I mean, shouldn't you two also be pretty upset that 𝐷eodora tried to kill you? How can you two be perfectly okay with this? Varghese barges in saying, what wonderful people you've got with you. Which one do you love more, huh? Oh no, we're back to this. No. Percival just says that he loves them both as friends. Oof, he got friend zoned. And Isolde knows the feeling all too well about oblivious man in anime and manga not really reciprocating your feelings. Varghese tells his grandson, so you see, Percival, it's not a bad thing to get worked up over your friends. But what matters even more is that you don't lose sight of their feelings to you. But Varghese has another thing on his mind. He looks over to Donnie and says, I must thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, it's about time to give Donnie some praise. He says to Donnie that with your quick thinking, I'm now able to see my grandson once more. But Donnie is all flustered, saying, no, it's Gareth, the one who made you visible for all of us. And he agrees, saying, indeed, thank you, Gareth. But it is still true that I want to thank you the most, Donnie. Donnie is a little embarrassed, saying, but why? I can't even do anything for Percival. The spirit replies, you are a kind man, deep inside, always laughing with my grandson, and always shedding tears for him. With you around, he's just stayed just the way he's been, never swaggering or overreaching. He's glad that he was the first person that Percival met after he left him alone, and hopes that he will stay a truly close friend. Donnie decides to take in all the praise from the spirit, saying, aw heck, it ain't no problem, but don't butter me up too much. The rest of the platoon laughs, and Percival just jumps right into Donnie's arms, yelling, Donnie! He cries his chibi little eyes out, saying, I'm really sorry, saying all those mean things. But Donnie, like the true friend that he is, saying, it's a fine, man, we all get pissed off some days. You know, these last few chapters are actually a good reminder of how close Donnie and Percival are as friends, and a reminder that Donnie is also still an important character.
You're a good kid, Kenny. I always thought so. I know we kind of all forget about you sometimes, but you're smart, compassionate.
So it's good that Nakaba wanted to give Donnie a little bit of attention with how important he is to Percival. He's not some romantic love interest like Anne and 𝐼𝐸𝐴ns are now, unfortunately. But Donnie is still around because he keeps Percival the way that he is, now knowing that his grandson is in good hands and Varghese is giving the peace signs. The spirit smiles. But before Percival could introduce the entire gang to his grandfather, Varghese disappeared, knowing that Percival has remembered who he is. Later that night, while everyone is resting up for the final battles tomorrow, he remembers his uncle's words. He lost his uncle, his father, and his friends. His heart is so weak, and he recites their creed. You must crush the evil, rescue the weak. But him talking so loudly just woke Donnie up, with the nephew of Hauser asking, you say something just now? What was you say? Nah. And that is how we end chapter 197, with Percival resting up in hopes of bringing Diodora out from the pits of despair, fulfilling his grandfather's dearest wish. Okay, so this chapter wasn't really too much. I mean, we kind of expected Varghese to get Percival back on the right track. I mean, that's why Donnie summoned him in the first place. And it really was good having Donnie get some acknowledgement. He's just been in the background, not really doing much, being the supportive character. But this time being the supportive character really made a bigger impact on the story. And as for Varghese, okay, look, it is a mixed bag about how he cares about Diodora. Like I said before, Varghese has no right to be worried about his grandson after he abandoned him for Percival. As per his wish, maybe there's a chance Percival could save Diodora, but I highly doubt it's going to be in the next chapter with Percival versus Diodora. But what do you think is going to happen in chapter 198? Will Percival save Diodora from the pit of despair? Or will Diodora plunge himself further down and sabotage the group's chance of taking down the Green Knight himself? We'll have to wait and see. If you love 7 Deadly Sins of Fortnite to the Apocalypse material, subscribe for more coming your way very soon. This has been Dante from the Anime Underworld, and I'll see you mortals later.